This is Chandler of the Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined by Paulie Malignaggi. We're here at the Ultimate Boxer weigh-in. Paulie, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about the Ultimate Boxer tournament and what you're expecting to see tomorrow night?
In a few words, exciting, fast-paced action. It's been the way it's always been for each and every Ultimate Boxer tournament we've had so far. None of the tournaments have been disappointing. We've had a few revelations for some good talent coming out of the tournament, and I think that the next one coming up will be no different.
In terms of the tournaments actually moving forward, what do you expect the future of Ultimate Boxer to be? We've already got one announced later on in the year.
I think they can keep doing these, and I think there's growth from these. I think there's no stress actually, because you have a company that is doing these tournaments, and it's becoming a revelation for these fighters. These fighters can become revelations themselves, and really they can go on to bigger and better things. And Ultimate Boxing keep producing out these tournaments, and new fighters can keep becoming those revelations that we discussed. So I think that I don't see how it can't keep going, because it always lives up to the expectations. Fans are always going home happy and talking about the exciting fights, and I can't see how you can't win every time if you're a fan of Ultimate Boxing, because the short fights force the action to start fast, end fast, and there's a different dynamic when a fighter has to fight and knowing he has to fight again later that night, or knowing he has to fight, or he's trying to win a whole tournament. There's a different kind of hunger, and of course, the fact that you only have a few rounds to do it, you got to come out fighting. There's not a lot of time to set up shop in the ring and then be too scientific. Obviously, you want to use your skill set, but it's going to have to be in an aggressive manner.
Now, you talk about that sort of explosiveness, and we've definitely seen that in the past tournaments. How sort of important is that to not only obviously win the tournament, but also where they get this stage of being in BT Sport to actually gain that sort of
I think looking good is important, but being exciting is more important as well. But also, the good thing about this tournament is, I think you don't necessarily have to win it to become a revelation for people. I think people can kind of discover you if you show some qualities that maybe even if you didn't win the tournament, you show some qualities that maybe might catch the eye of somebody important, or might catch the eye of some people that might want to see you again or take you on. So I think it's important overall to make a good impression. Obviously, winning is the most important thing, but making a good impression, I think you can still come out of this with your head high even if you don't win the tournament.
Now, obviously, this time it's cruiserweights. It's the biggest weight division that we've seen for the Ultimate Boxers so far. Do you expect to see a lot more knockouts this time?
It's possible, The bigger they are, the harder they fall, right?
Brilliant. And then, just to touch on you a little bit, obviously you had the fight, what was it, a couple of months ago now?
About a month.
Okay. How are you healing up? So obviously
we're almost out of the cast. A couple more weeks.
Almost out of the cast. Is there still a future with the BKFC?
No, I think that's it. I think the injuries are going to prevent me from probably being able to do this again. It's my hands are too injury prone. They always have been injury prone, but I think I gave it a shot. But they remain injury prone, and it doesn't get better as you get older.
What was the sort of interest? We've obviously spoken about this in the past, but the interest to sort of try and why was it specifically BKFC?
I mean, it was specifically BKFC because they made the offer, and then of course, 10-minute fight. It's not that long. Good money, for a 10-minute fight, and then of course, there was the built-in bad blood, so it was a promotion that could really be pushed, and so a combination of all those things, I think came together well, and the timing was perfect. It's been a less busy year for Showtime this year because Fox has taken a lot of our dates in the U.S. So I said to myself, well, I usually wouldn't have time to train for a fight. I might actually have time to train for a fight, and I did. And my camp was pretty uninterrupted, and it was a pretty smooth camp.
What do you think that actually went wrong in that fight?
Nothing. I won the fight. What went wrong is I broke my hand. I don't think anything went wrong. I think I made an adjustment once I broke my hand, because I had to make an adjustment when I broke my hand. I think what goes wrong is the fan base has to get a little smarter. That's the dumbest fan base that exists in sports, and the dumbest media that exists in sports is that sport right there. and I mean, maybe MMA, but realistically speaking, I mean, I was aggressive the first 2 rounds. I broke my hand. You cannot be aggressive if you're one-handed, so you're going to make adjustments. I made the adjustments that were necessary to win the fight anyway, despite being one-handed. That didn't include aggression. It included making him pay for his aggression. Sure, he was a bit more successful. I'm one-handed, he's two-handed. But at the end of the day, he was not successful enough to win the fight. So when people give me this crap about the aggression wins the fight, it has to be effective aggressiveness, you know? You can't walk into my shots to the point where my left hand was so beat up that it still hurts now a month later, you know? And it didn't even break. You know, you can't walk into that many punches with your aggressiveness, not landing barely anything. I mean, if you can't count my blood either, but that's what I'm talking about, the stupid fan base. You know, you have I got cut in 1 clinch, and if you watch the fight before that clinch and after that clinch, that's the only cuts I have, you know? I have a little nick here, maybe before, but that's titanium on my face, so that, you know, you hit the skin against the titanium, that's gonna nick easily. That wasn't from really a shot, it was a grazing shot. But the other 2 cuts, you know, that's 1 clinch. You don't win a fight with 1 clinch for sure. I mean, and then you talk about the other clinches, you know, I held him, and the referee needed to break us because the referee has to enforce the action. So, and once he broke us, we're back on the outside where he was totally useless. You know, so I don't care how aggressive you are, you have to be effective, not useless. And I was effective, not him.
Do you think it was also that it's obviously BKFC is a little bit different to boxing, and maybe how everything would have been scored? Do you think that also played a bit of a difference?
Yeah, people keep saying that, so I'm going to ask you, because obviously there must be something I don't know. How do you score a fight? How do you score a fight? If you can't kick, and you can't take down, and you're allowed to hit in the clinches, but you get 1 clinch in 5 rounds, you land punches in 1 out of 5. How do you score that fight? How do you win that fight? How else do you win it? No, you tell me. How do you win that? Because everybody keeps saying it scored differently. How do you score any other way besides more landed punches? I score fights with more landed punches. I assume everywhere in the world, no matter what combat sport it is, I assume they score it with more landed punches or more landed strikes. So I don't understand where the scoring would be different. Any kind of fight you have to score with more landed strikes. I think that's just another thing that the stupidest fan base in the world keeps parroting because maybe one person said it and so they all keep repeating each other. Here's the thing I'll tell you about this. If I hadn't lost that fight, if I had won that fight, nobody would be saying anything because there would be no controversy. But the fact that I lost that fight he was awarded the win. I didn't lose it. He was awarded the win. It allowed them to parrot one another if that's to find reasons why he won the fight. You know what I mean? Because there would be no reason to discuss it if I won the fight the way I was supposed to. You know, because that's the result that should have been given to me is the one to win. So once I was given the result, they had to go and make up reasons why they gave him the fight. So they had to literally invent reasons. You're inventing reasons. There's a different scoring system. What's the scoring system? Any fight you have, more strikes wins the fight. Especially if there's no ground fighting, which there wasn't. There was no fun fighting in the clinches aside from 1 clinch. So what's the criteria? You have to make it up.
Okay. Paulie Malignaggi, thank you very much for speaking to Boxing Social, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon.
Absolutely.